Welcome to the Freelance Tribe. Here we talk with skilled freelancers about their professional journey. Stay tuned for real-life experiences to learn and actionable steps to take to improve your freelancing career. My name is Yuri. I'm a community builder at Code Control and 9am.works, and my guest is Oliver Gehrmann, an owner at NextStep.de, a web design and online marketing agency who gets clients from streams and YouTube videos by showcasing how he does clients work. And today we'll discuss the nitty-gritty of the YouTube video optimization process to make people notice and want to watch your videos. So welcome, Oliver.
Hey, Yuri. Thank you very much for inviting me on.
We had a small conversation before about the Freelance Unlocked when you jumped a little bit into your content creation. So let's just currently jump more into all these details and what helps you to get the most out of the video. So please tell me, when it comes to getting the most out of the video, where should we start?
Yeah, so in an ideal world, you have an idea of what your ideal client looks like, obviously. And then you're making a video on YouTube to attract that very person. So if you manage that, even if it doesn't have like a lot of clicks, relatively speaking, if it might just be like 200 clicks, if 20 of the people that clicked on the video would send you a message, that would be a great result. So it's very different when you compare it to what people usually think of when they think of big YouTubers, because by no means am I a big YouTuber, but you can find your niche, and in that niche you can find a certain audience, and that certain audience might give contracts to your company, which in my case is how we're using YouTube.
By the way, tell me a little bit more about connection of views between clicks and between real messages, because what I personally think that you have to have like thousands and hundreds of thousands of videos, otherwise you are not successful and you can't get clients. But how does it work for you?
Yeah, so we have a lot of videos that are basically just walkthroughs, how you can solve one of the problems yourself. And they are mostly there because they're very convenient to record, to be honest. So it's not a lot of high effort content in that sense. But they build a lot of trust with the audience. So a lot of people have watched one or two of these videos and they're like, oh yeah, I had this problem the other day. Or more often than not, they actually find us directly from Google. So they are looking, in my case, we're doing web design with WordPress. So they might be looking like something, oh, my WordPress site is not working. I cannot log in. I'm getting the message that cookies are not enabled in my browser, which is definitely not the case because I'm logged in everywhere else. What can I do? And then they end up on one of your videos, and this is how they first touch base. And very often that doesn't lead to a request right away, because in the best case scenario, they will solve their problems themselves with the video that we produced. But it very often happens that they watch a second video, later down the line, a third video, and then we have some videos that are really tailored to our core audience. So something like how to make the most of your company website is something that is definitely relevant for our target audience, because they then figure out, oh, okay, I'm missing a call to action element. I'm missing reviews from my clients. I don't have a lot of trust building on my website that is showcasing my work in the past. And then they make the connection, I should go to this guy because he first fixed my problem and he gave me some really good ideas.
It sounds like you're helping them to fix their problem on themselves, but also uncovering some other problems they might have so they can contact you and do this with you.
Yeah, in a perfect world, and you have come across this 100%. If you're on YouTube and you're watching a video that is interesting, the guy will lead out with something like, now you learned this and this and this, but there's this other thing that if you knew would 10x your business or something like that, or like if you're continuing on your health journey, now you have to know how to work out or how to eat healthier or how to stay motivated or how to get better sleep. And now you're watching this video. So in an ideal world, you really have like a funnel basically that takes people from one video to the next. So they go deeper and deeper and deeper down the rabbit hole. So they really feel like, okay, this guy or this person knows what they're talking about. And then ideally, again, you're having a very concrete offer for them. So there's some really good resources, and we will link some of those in the show notes. There is Sunny Leonardo. Her last name is a little bit more complicated. And Lenarduzzi is the name. So she really breaks down how with a relatively small YouTube channel, you can attract a lot of people and make a lot of money. And what she does is she has several call to actions worked into her videos. So very early on, with just like 3 minutes in the video, 2 minutes in the video, she might have something like, if today's topic is interesting for you, but you don't have the time, I also have like a free PDF that you can download on my website. So the bar is very low. Like everybody might be interested in that free PDF because they clicked on the video. And then way later in the video, they might have something like, okay, now you watched it up until this point, so I can tell you in this topic, if you now want to sign up for my mastermind group or something like that, you can click here. So she has very different call to actions that are tailored to different engagement levels of her audience. And this is something that I haven't really seen applied overall on YouTube, but of course a lot less so on the German market, because as you can imagine, we're kind of behind. Like all the new trends are in America, and then like half a year later, they basically come over, and we see the same things in Europe.
Do you implement some of call to actions in your videos?
Yeah, I definitely try that. Although very often, like my main goal is just like solving a concrete problem, and not like I'm not building my videos in a sense that, oh, this is going to make me so much money. It's really more like I'm trying to put myself in the perspective of where I was when I started my business, and there were a lot of things that I was messing up. If you're a web designer and you worked on your first website and you didn't do backups regularly, and you happen to be at a hoster that is not great, who is not doing the backups for you, if the website goes up in flames and you realize you have to do it all over again because you never created a backup, that's something that you're never going to forget for the rest of your life. So I would have a video that would tell you about like the 10 most important things for a website, and then number one would be backups, for example. And this is not something where somebody's watching the video and then they're like, oh, I have to start a consulting with this guy because he seems to have so much good information. I just do it to help other people. And then like by accident, more often than not, people end up like requesting my help with something else.
So we talked about the structure of the video, that it has to solve some kind of problems and challenges of your ideal clients, and a little bit about the call to actions, and talking about the optimization of the video itself. What do you use? Like what tools do you use? Like how do you do the optimization? And like let's start with what is the most important part of video optimization?
I think the number one thing is to just get rid of all the white noise in your video. Like whenever you have a moment when you have to think about the next step and you're like going through a process, you just cut that out. You completely need to get rid of that, unfortunately, because in our modern community of folks that are used to TikToks that are only like 30 seconds long, nobody wants to watch you like walk around a room and think about your next step or something. The only way to sell something like that is like putting a meme over it, putting some funny sounds over it, having it like in a time warp or something, so it looks like it's a long time, but you immediately go to the next thing. So you really have to make it snappy and get to the point very fast. In my case, my biggest problem is that I'm speaking very fast. Like this is just like my default speaking voice. I'm not like putting on something. I also watch all the videos that I watch on YouTube on at least 1.5, more often than not even 1.75. And then I have some people that are watching my videos, and I like the most common criticism is that it's way too fast for them. So I always have to slow down and try to be more step by step and structure the whole thing. So those are some of the things that go into the thought process. The bigger picture thing is, so if we had to turn this into a checklist so people can like take a little bit more away from this. So the first thing is script your video upfront. You should know upfront what you're going to do, and you should lay that out very early in the video. So if you're going through a process, but the client has no idea that they are in a 5-step process, this is not helpful for them. So you need to tell them, okay, so today we want to be migrating a website from A to B. And for this, we need to follow 4 easy steps. Step 1, we create a backup of our existing site. And now people are like, oh, okay, this seems like a structured video. This guy seems to know what he's talking about. If I have a problem with step 3, I can go back and rewind up until that point because 1 and 2 I got down. So people want to see structure in the videos. That's like a really important thing, and you can accomplish that by coming up with a script for the video up front. Then think about what you're going to say in all of the steps and trim all the fat. If like I'm often going on side tangents. Like we're talking about hosting, and then I start saying bad things about certain hostess because in my professional life they cost me so much trouble. So that is something that you should ideally leave out or keep it to a minimum, not because we don't want to be edgy, but again, it might not be helpful for the audience out there. It's better to just like put a little text on the screen so you can continue with your main message, and then you have like some side entertainment for those people who are like, okay, I know this already, but then they see a message pop up and you're saying bad things about Strato. In my case, would be like the number one thing that I do all the time. And so have a script, trim out all the fat, get to the point, have a structured approach. I personally am also a very big fan of chapter markers on YouTube, so people can see where they are in the video and what comes next. I think that's super helpful. And then I think lastly, it should be something like, once you're done with this video, what should you do next? So you want to keep the people engaged, or you want them to send you a message.
How much do you trim like some filler words or some pauses? Do you make it like running like a flow of the river, or do you just still have some kind of pauses and something like that?
So you want to have a pause here and there, but mostly what we're doing is we're putting chapter markers in the video. So you basically, you still hear me talk, but then there's an overlay and you see a message like step 3, we're now doing this and this. And I keep talking in the background. And that tends to work because with the visual help, you know, okay, I'm in the structured process, I'm in the next step. But at the same time, you keep the flow going, because unfortunately, that is very important. Most of the time, the videos that have a lot of breaks, they don't tend to perform very well, to be honest. You want to keep it going, and never have like a break in the videos.
Okay, so you have a video, you record it, everything nice, good, you're uploading it to YouTube. How to ensure that people will find it?
Yeah, so this is a bit of a chicken and egg problem, because we might all think that first comes the idea for the video, then you produce the video, and then you think about everything else. And in an ideal world, it would be the exact same, the other way around. So before you start scripting a video, you should have an idea of what the title for the video is going to be. And you should also have figured out what kind of thumbnail you want to have. So this sounds like I'm advertising clickbait. I'm telling people, hey, you should go for clickbait and you should have like the most obnoxious thumbnails. But there are very few things that are more frustrating for someone who is creating than putting a lot of effort into a video and then nobody ends up watching it. So I think you can turn this around and you can say you owe it to your audience to make them click on the video, and that means that you have to have a cool thumbnail. You have to maybe have a little bit of clickbait in the title, as long as you're delivering on that promise at the end of the video, or hopefully somewhere in the middle of the video. So it's a fine line, and I totally understand the frustration of people that are like, I don't want to be like that. But at the same time, like, think about it. You're putting like 3 hours into a video with editing, and might be 6 hours or something. With the research up front and whatnot, and then nobody clicks on it. That just sucks so hard that it's just better to do the other steps. Think about the title first, think about the thumbnail first, and then go to the scripting process.
Sounds like if you are really given value, it's okay to do a little bit of, but like fun thing, because that's attention, you know, when you see all the advertisement, when you see all this like interesting stuff, like how would you know if someone will like make a title, I don't know, like here is how you can build your website. Nobody cares. Like here's how you get like $1,000 with your website. Like, oh yeah, it's interesting. So you still need to do this, and even though it might be the same steps here and there, like yeah, how would you know? So what is your process? Like how do you create thumbnails and titles? Do you have some kind of I don't know, checklist or something like that?
Yeah, I mean, ChatGPT can be really helpful for that, to be honest. Like, you can ask it and say, hey, I want to produce a video for this and this topic, and I need a really catchy thumbnail. Give me 10 ideas. And then 5 of those will be complete garbage, in your own opinion. And 3 of those might be like, yeah, I can see this. And then 2 of them might be really, really good at the end of the day. So to brainstorm, this is definitely helpful. Then I would also recommend looking at the alternatives in the field. Like the other day, we did a video about how to get your own email address. And like thinking up front, I was like, I'm not having high expectations for this video. Like, I just figure everybody knows this topic. And then I started researching it. And every video when you enter on YouTube, I want to have my own email addresses, like how you can get free Gmail addresses, how you can route your other email address to Gmail and whatnot. And nobody was talking about the question at hand. Like, I just want to have my first name at lastname.de domain or something like that. Nobody was addressing this. And then I was like, oh, okay, so there might be a market here, or I'm completely misreading the room. And then I looked at the other thumbnails, and I'm sorry, but all the other thumbnails were so trash in my personal opinion. So we just had a thumbnail. It was an email symbol. We put like the @ sign on top of the envelope, so you could kind of tell, okay, this is about emails. And then we just had Vorname at Nachname.de. That's kind of it, with a reaction shot of me where I'm like showing people, hey, this is what you get in this video. And then what also helps, ironically enough, I did this with a lot of field testing and with my audience. They love it when the title of the video, or at least like the keyword, is again on the thumbnail. So there are a lot of people who are like just visually browsing through YouTube. They're not reading anything. They're not reading the title of the video. They're just looking at the thumbnail. So if the thumbnail says, get your own email address or something like that already, and then you have the example with Vorname at Nachname, they are like, oh, okay, this is what I'm looking for. So this is some of the advice that I learned that really helps. And I did like split testing with my own audience, and I asked them, what do you prefer? Which of these thumbnails? And we had some really iconic thumbnails where I thought like this is communicating all the message. And then people are like, yeah, but I like the other one with the title more because I know what it's about. And I'm like, you know what it's about if you put like one and one together. Just look at the image and think for a second. And they're like, no, it's too high effort. I just want to have the title in my face on the thumbnail. I was like, okay, whatever.
Do you have the same title on the thumbnail, or do you make it smaller, shorter?
So I think this is one of those things where newer creators might end up trapping themselves. So you're looking at all of the big channels, and they will have recognizable elements, most importantly, the face of the creator themselves, and they will repeat those elements over and over again. And now you're thinking, oh, I have to do the same thing. The issue is that nobody knows your face, unfortunately. So you cannot work with that. Yes, it is good to have like some recurring elements in your thumbnails, but at the very beginning, just like throw stuff at the wall and see what sticks. Just go crazy, go in different directions, try for a more crazy dynamic with the image or something that is a bit more understated, and then see what works for you and figure it out as you go along. Don't lock into one kind of thumbnail design too early and then just stick with the same thing over and over again. We've been doing this for a while now, and every so often we change it up a little bit, and then we realize, oh, this other thing has worked, or this new thing is really working for us. So you don't really want to stick with the same thing, I believe.
How often do you do some kind of A/B testing?
Yeah, so we don't do this for every video most of the time, because we put out one video every weekend, even though we are all doing other stuff in the company, actually. So I am still working on client projects all the time. I'm not, I don't know, I don't want to say your typical CEO, but I'm not the guy who's just telling the other people what to do. I'm still working on client projects all the time, and I never have enough time. And then I'm just recording the video on the side in a way. So for that reason, I'm often not having the time to go over everything like 3 times over. We still don't think of YouTube as our main income, and it definitely isn't. It's just something that helps us generate the leads. And for that reason, it would be a little bit out of proportion if we put a lot more time into it. So for the thumbnails, we sometimes have like 2 or 3 different ideas, and then we test those out. And I've made like really good experiences that I had with some folks that actually send us emails, and they were like, hey, I can do thumbnails for you. And they are, truth be told, I don't even know where the guy's from. He just told me that PayPal is not available in this country, so that narrows it down a little bit. I know that PayPal is not available in Turkey, and I think in Pakistan and so on. And he's doing 3 or 4 thumbnails for 40 euros. Like, I'm at the point where I don't even care. I'm like, this is so dead cheap. There is no reason to do this ourselves at this point, because they look good. It's not that he's just delivering something. If you give him a good briefing, he will do a very appealing thumbnail. And then you learn that you have very different mindsets compared. I have a student worker at the moment, And he was like, I can do the thumbnails. It's not an issue. I can do it. And I'm like, you're never gonna do it cheaper than this other guy. And he doesn't get the point. He's like, yeah, but I'm not costing you a whole lot. I can do the thumbnail. I'm like, okay, how long do you need? I'm like, yeah, maybe like an hour, or just half an hour. I'm like, okay, it's too expensive. The other guy does one thumbnail for like less than 10 euros. Like, even when I'm completely underpaying you, it's impossible to pay you like that little amount of money that this other guy is taking. And this is one of those entrepreneurial things where you realize, oh, I have to make the most out of my time. And if I can outsource something, then this makes a lot of sense.
Coming back to titles, how do you balance between being clear, still a little bit of clickbaity, and also SEO friendly?
Yes, I mean, most of the time you have a very clear keyword that will definitely attract people. So often you want to communicate something, like in my case, very often it's walkthroughs. So you would have something like step-by-step tutorial or walkthrough, like German translation for it, I guess, in the video title. So it's very clear for people what to expect. In fact, the worst video that we have was somebody asked me a question on the live stream, and I was just like, oh, we can turn this into a thing for YouTube. So I just clipped it basically. And then my editor uploaded it. And the question was something kind of unrelated to what the title of the video was. And this really felt like clickbait. This video has gotten a lot of views over the years, relatively speaking again. And it has like only 75% upvotes. So it's not terrible, but in comparison, like the channel average is like 98.5% or something. So more often than not, people are like constantly just saying, oh, this is the best thing ever. And then this one video is like relatively bad. And it's just because the video doesn't deliver on the promise in the title. So you want to make a promise, you want to tell people what to expect, and you kind of, in an ideal way, you're going to do a transformation for them. So they are somewhere at the beginning, and then with the help of your video, they're going to be somewhere else at the end, and they will be able to see the difference. They will be able to tell, oh, I never knew this about my website, but now I understand, and they can see that this is going to work for them in the future. So if you can get the client, or the viewer in this case, to understand that they will be going through a transformation with your video, that's like the number one thing. That's really going to help you out.
Do you have some kind of a storytelling line in your videos? For example, you start with like opening the challenge, then you do like a quick solutions, then you like jump into nitty-gritty, and then you just tell them something like how your video look like.
Yeah, so the number one thing is that you have to have a hook very early on in the video, and you only have 30 to 60 seconds to make your point. So if you're not using that time right away, you will see drop rates of like up to 60-70% of the people watching the video. And that really breaks your heart when you're looking at the analytics of your videos. You're like, how? I put so much effort into this last part, but then early on you're losing them all. So you have to immediately like tell them what the transformation is going to be like. That's the number one thing. Or give them like an outline of what they will see in this video. If you can, if you're doing something about a tutorial, how to solve an issue, you just address that right away. You say, oh, you're trying to log into your WordPress, but this is the issue you're getting. Today, I'm going to walk you through step by step how you can solve this yourself. So that's like a really clear message, and people will be like, okay, this is what I'm here for. Because also, a lot of people do think I might get clickbaited with a video. So if you confirm very early on that what they are expecting to see in the video is going to be what you're delivering in the video, they're going to be very happy with you.
Talking about the video's length. So we were talking about time, about view time, and like what kind of, like how long your videos usually and why?
Yeah. So, I mean, in an ideal world, you make them as short as possible because you want to respect the viewer's time. You want to not waste their time. They are as long as they have to be. I don't think this is always true because I sometimes, like I said, I'm going on the side tangents and I'm not sticking to the script enough. So I have to basically criticize myself here. But you never want to drag it out for no reason. There was actually a keynote speaker, and he has a YouTube channel, and he's trying to show people how he's going through his process of how he prepares a keynote. And I think that's a fascinating topic. That's definitely something that I would be interested in. And then he starts the video, and there is the hook. Today we're going to be walking through my process, and you're like, okay, I want to see that. And then very early in the video, he starts to show you how he's walking around the room, and he's just thinking. And I'm like, you need to trim that. Nobody has enough retention or attention to walk you through the room, unfortunately. Like, unless you make it funny, unless you put a sound on top, unless you cut it like snappy, snappy, snappy. But he just goes through half a second through the video. And I can guarantee if he's looking at his analytics, he will see that this is where all the people stop watching, unfortunately. So yeah, it's really about respecting the audience, respecting their time, getting to the point right away, and then delivering on a promise, and ideally doing a transformation in the video. You had this issue and now it's solved, and next step is going to be this for you.
So for some freelancers or creators who are doing their videos, what is one small thing they can do today to optimize their next video and increase the chances of being seen?
Yeah, I believe if you start with thinking about first, what's going to be the title, what's going to be the thumbnail, and they write, or at least have like an outline of a script. If you do that before you start recording, if you haven't done that before, that's going to make like a world of difference. There's like absolutely no doubt about that. And then the other thing is just try and improve a little bit from video to video. So we were in the fortunate situation that we had several editors for the videos, and then every time a new person was working on them, they came with new ideas. So you just try and incorporate like a new thing here and there and see if it works and how it is going to connect with the audience. And then you just keep all the good stuff, kick out all the bad stuff. And it's like a continuous improvement process at the end of the day. It doesn't need to be like, now I'm here and then the next day I'm going to be like delivering the best video ever. It's just going to happen over time if you just keep at it.
It's like getting better 1% a day every time, 1% every video.
Absolutely, yeah. And then there's the other thing. You might have really figured out your niche. So one of my most favorite examples in this particular area is there's a friend of mine who is Jacek from Danzig in Poland. And they are doing web design, but they are doing it specifically tailored to Ferienwohnung is the German word, so vacation homes. So you're selling, I don't know, your first floor, or you have like a second building or something, and you want to rent that out over the holidays most of the time. And they're doing nothing else. So you would think, well, this is a pretty niche topic, obviously, but that is what works really, really well on YouTube. YouTube really has the algorithm figured out. And if people are starting watching the first video, how to improve your vacation home, or how do you get more people that will rent your home, or how do you make more money with this? If they watch like 2 or 3 videos, YouTube kind of has them figured out. So they will put all of your content, if it's about this particular topic, in front of their faces. So the only thing you need to find is an entry point. How do I get those people in the first place? And what can help there is advertising on YouTube. They started that at the start of last year. And I think that in terms of ad spend, this is one of the best things you can do as a smaller company. So we are spending on average like 200, 250, sometimes 300 euros per month on advertising on YouTube. And you can either set it to gain views, so you can really have a video blow up, but it looks very artificial, to be honest. And you can also set it to gain subscribers. And I don't know how the YouTube algorithm is doing it. It seems like some sort of dark magic or something, but they're really good at that. And some of the advertisement, we can actually get a new subscriber for like 50 to 60 cents. And if you think about that, if you just do this for a year, let's say you're spending your 200 euros per month, and you're only doing that after a year, you will already have more than 1,000 subscribers. And now people will think that you're an authority in the field. Hopefully you are. But even if you're not, people will think that you are. And that will just put more eyeballs on your videos at the end of the day and build an audience for you. And eventually you're going to make that money back. If Jacek and his team is selling consulting 2 or 3 times per month to tell people how to make more money with the vacation home, the YouTube ad spend is like peanuts in comparison.
Yeah. I wish to have the sky's the limit, but time is the limit. So the final question, what is your favorite food?
Oh, my favorite food. I'm a big fan of Mexican food. So just last weekend, I again had fajitas. They come in a frying pan, and then you have to build your own tacos basically with it. And I don't know, this gives me some sort of agency. I feel like I have a part in the process of making the food, even though it's like the smallest thing that I'm doing. And it is very tasty as far as I'm concerned. So I would definitely go with Mexican, yeah.
Got it. And what is the best way to connect with you?
I think the best way would actually be my Discord. I mean, most people are going to say LinkedIn, and I don't mind LinkedIn, but a lot of the conversations on LinkedIn seem kind of artificial, to be honest. Hey, I have this new product you need to check out. Oh, I've seen you in the same field as me. Let's talk. And you're like, about what? What do you want to talk about? And then there's nothing coming up. So actually my Discord is like my number one place because it's where we do a lot of community building actually. And people are really coming together. There's no spam there. People are really like talking about issues that they have in their particular field. And most of it has something to do with web design, obviously, because that's like my main field and how people are getting there. So I think Discord is like the best way to go.
Got it, Oliver. Thank you so much for going through your content creation process, and it's very valuable for me personally. I still learn from you a lot and continue
Thank
learning,
you.
and I will have a ton of questions. I would have to ask them, and I hope people can also learn from you too, and yeah, reach out and go through this journey together. So thank you very much for that.
Well, thank you. I can't wait to meet you at the Freelance Unlocked later this year. And then we're going to talk about YouTube creation and some other things.
Yeah, let's do it. And yeah, thank you so much for listening. If you like the show, hit the like button, 5 stars, and share it with your friend. That's it. We're done. See you in the next episode.